Hey, Mary Ann. Um, m- my very close cousin died this morning, and I might be taken away from this meeting with phone calls. So if you could co-chair, if I
Okay.
just fade out, I'd appreciate it. Thanks.
Sorry about that, Elaine. I'm so sorry to hear that.
Way things go.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you know, here's an aside, my brother is an architect in Arizona, and he just wrote to me that, what did he say? Um, um, he's planned and designed something like 7 public libraries in the past 3 or 4 years. So if your group would like any advice, I'd be happy to help. Although
That's
he's
great.
in Arizona.
Okay. Well, he can join us by Zoom. And, and we'll take all the free expert help we can get.
Exactly. So I told him I'd keep in touch.
Okay, so just one thing. So I talked to you about the funding of the survey and then coming up with a plan for
Yep.
funding other things. And then I posted tonight's meeting as both a library building committee meeting and a subcommittee meeting so that we can approve those minutes of the subcommittee and then conclude that. Okay, good. Okay, good. All right. And then I posted next Monday's meeting starting at 3:45 because we'll have to get there before our first architects
Oh, sure.
arrive. Yeah, so, okay.
Yeah.
And be set up, so. Okay. Hi, Brad. Hi, Neil.
Good evening, everyone.
Hello. And Penny, I'll have you know, I have a piece of paper sitting next to me that I wrote down names in alphabetical order this time, so I will not make a mistake.
Bravo.
It wasn't that hard.
No, but it's a great little tool.
Yes, it is.
Mary Ann, I saw 2 logins tonight.
I think they're the same one.
They both lead to the same place. We won't have people wandering to some other.
God, I hope not. Um, I mostly know what I'm doing and I get a lot of things right. And then like a lot of other humans, I make mistakes sometimes too.
No.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that in front of Neil. Now he's gonna, so, you didn't say the library director made mistakes,
Everybody makes mistakes.
Right.
Yeah, you're in. So's everybody else.
Okay. Yeah. And Jeff said that he might be late or not here at all. So we've got,
So we have all 7 of us besides Jeff.
and
We can give him 2
Okay.
more minutes.
Yeah.
video on or off?
Somebody have something going on in the background?
I think that's Wheezy and Dale talking.
Oh,
Got one right there.
got it.
You're walking away from me.
I'll mute Dale.
Okay. All right.
Okay, it is 7 o'clock. And since we know that Jeff is a possible latecomer, we can get housekeeping and things finished to start. So at 7 o'clock, I'd like to call this meeting to order. First thing I'd like to do is review the agenda. Does anyone have any comments or questions about the agenda? Hi, Lauren. Okay, hearing none. I'm going to keep this public comment on the agenda because I know it's going to eventually come up to a point where we're going to want to use it. So I am going to keep it on, but I don't know how long I need to give it. Do we have flexibility? I think we do on this, to just go on if we don't have anything that's involved, right?
Yeah, so I put on the agenda, times are approximate.
Okay,
So, so I think it's fair for us to just continue with our business.
okay.
And I'm in several public meetings that have no times on the agenda.
Okay, so I don't see any public here. And therefore, unless one of us wants to make public comment, I'm going to move on from that.
Well, I actually have a question concerning the public comment.
Okay,
So should we allow the first 10 minutes for someone to come on to the meeting and make a comment? In other words, if they aren't here at 7:01, but they come in at 7:05 and have a comment, should we allow that comment? Or should it, once you say that no one is here with public comments, then is that it?
no, I think we can be flexible because we're reviewing our minutes mostly after that, reviewing the agenda. And if someone comes on and somewhere between 7 and 7:10 and does raise their hand, I will take their comments because they were here between 7 and 7:10. Is that okay with everyone?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's review the minutes from the previous meeting. Thank you, Penny. You do a great job of these. I really appreciate them.
I
Does
make a
anybody else?
motion that we approve the minutes.
Second, this is Brad.
Okay. Any corrections, changes?
I thought they were great.
Okay, I sent one small correction to Penny. On the second page, there was a missing word that made no difference, but just to make sure that she knew that I was reading them. So there's an "in" missing after recommendations.
And Stephen had a similar small change that I made as well. Nothing of great substance.
Okay. All right, the motion has been made. and seconded. So roll call, Mary Ann,
Aye.
Stephen,
Dalmas, aye.
Brad,
Aye.
Dale,
Aye.
Penny,
Aye.
Molly.
Aye.
Jeff is not here, so myself, aye. So the minutes are approved for the last, our last meeting. Okay, moving on. Update on the architects selected for the interview. I would like at this time to give the, yes, Marianne,
We do the minutes for the subcommittee.
that's what I
Okay.
was just gonna do.
Oh, okay. All righty.
Like at
Okay.
this time to ask the subcommittee to review the minutes that were taken for their meeting. And do we hear any motions to approve and accept them?
I make the motion that we approve the minutes from the meeting on December 1st.
And I'll second.
Okay, did just the subcommittee get those minutes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, at some point, it would be good to have the minutes sent to the rest of the committee so that we can have them on file if we have a file in our computer, which some of us do. So I'd appreciate that.
I shall do that.
Okay, thank you. All right, are there any changes or corrections or additions to these minutes?
Again, I think Stephen gave me a couple of corrections, minor corrections. Nothing of substance, except we had a fairly free-ranging discussion about the interview format, and I didn't include all that in the minutes. I thought we could just include tonight what we settled upon.
Okay. All right, is everyone agreeable to that? Stephen?
Well, the one comment I had made, and maybe with some of the other members here can see what their memory is, but when we were talking about the time to allow the architects for their presentation, we had initially, I think, said 30 minutes, and then I think there was a discussion that we reduce it to 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
Is that what everyone remembers?
that's what I remember.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, because that was one of the things that I said to Penny about. She has 30 minutes in there, and I thought 20 was something we had changed it to for the presentation.
Right, I think we wanted more time for the questioning.
I will make that change.
Great, thank you. Anything else? Okay, hearing nothing else, I'm going to go through the subcommittee. Mary Ann,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Brad,
Aye.
Dale,
Aye.
and Jeff is not here. And so the minutes have been approved unanimously for the committee members that were here. Okay, so now, Mary Ann, would you like to walk us through the subcommittee selection process that we had and where we're at?
Sure. So we met, and my fellow committee members jump in if I leave anything out. So we met Thursday evening. I created a ranking form using the criteria in the RFQ, and we had some preliminary discussion about whether or not people met minimum requirements, which was the minimum number of similar projects. And we eliminated one of the candidates through that initial discussion, and then we ranked the remaining candidates according to the criteria in the RFQ, and the three top candidates that there was consensus on interviewing were Odin's Ello, Johnson Roberts, and LLB. And then we decided, since we got 6 proposals and we could get through the 6 proposals in one evening, we didn't have to have the second ranking meeting. And we decided that Neil would invite the candidates for interviews, and that we would change the interview times to having all 3 interviews on one night. So the interviews are going to be next Monday at 4, 5:15, and 6:30 p.m. As long as everybody here agrees to this schedule. And they'll be in the basement of Town Hall. There'll be hybrid meetings, but most of us and the architects will be in the room, and then any members of the public or people who live far away could join via Zoom. And that's where we are now.
I thought we had also eliminated a third one.
At the end, we decided to not, that a
TS.
second one didn't meet the basic criteria, so we decided not to rank them according to the it was TSKP.
Right.
But we so in the beginning we eliminated one, and at the end we eliminated a second one.
Okay.
But I think we eliminated a third as well, because we
Right.
ended up with just 3
Right.
interviews.
Well, there was a third that we ranked, but we
Yes.
decided not to interview.
Right.
Mhm.
A 4th, yeah.
Well, some people decided not to interview.
That's true.
Right.
Most people decided not to interview.
Neil, did you have something you wanted to say?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Anybody else from the committee want to chime in as to how they felt their process went, or that they were all right with that process and what we came out with?
I found it interesting comparing this to the owner's project manager process. I could tell we'd gone through a process once, and it felt much smoother. I felt like it made it easier for us to get through things all in one night. I was impressed, as I was in the last round, that we don't all agree with each other, and that we vote what we feel, and in the end we count up the totals. And I thought that worked very well. I really appreciated the differing points of view that people brought.
I thought the process went very smoothly. I thought we picked the 3 best candidates to interview. So I'm happy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on that, do you want to update us on who they were, and what do we want to do a kind of overview of who they were, or do you want to wait till they actually come and they present themselves? Because I think we all have their perspectives, and I guess that would just be kind of wasting time.
Well, yeah, except for Molly, we were all at the meeting, you know.
True. But Molly, you have the all of their proposals, correct?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, and I will review the 3 that you chose more than I have already before next week.
Great. Great.
I have a question for Neil. Have we heard back from the top 3?
I reached out to each. I have not spoken with LLB as of yet. I have had a conversation with both Johnson Roberts, with Phil O'Brien, and Matt and Dominic at Odinzello, and all are looking forward to presenting to the committee next week.
So
They
Matt-
are They're waiting for the formal notification based on this committee's affirming vote.
So do we know that LLB will be present?
I have not spoken with Drayton directly, so I can't say for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess it's up to the full committee to decide to accept the put forward 3 proposals and to interview the 3 that are Johnson Roberts, LLB, and Odinzello. Do I hear a motion to approve those 3 going forward for interview?
I move that we approve the 3 that we selected at the last subcommittee meeting for being interviewed.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay,
Was that Dale?
yes.
Yes, yep, Dale.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right, hearing none. A roll call vote. Mary Ann,
Antonellis, aye.
Stephen,
Alma's aye.
Brad,
Foster, aye.
Dale,
Cool, aye.
Penny,
Jake's eye.
Molly,
Moss, I.
and Paleo, aye. All right, so now we have 3. Neil, are you going to work with them on the ordering and timing?
I believe that Mary Ann put the names in a hat and drew, and the order that came up was Odinzello at 4 o'clock, LLB at 5:15, and Johnson Roberts at 6:30. Is that correct, Mary Ann?
Yeah, I put the names in a box, because I
box,
didn't
I'm
have
sorry.
a hat. I didn't have a hat handy. And I, so I wrote the names on a slip of paper, I folded them up, put them in a box, pulled them out, one at a time and wrote a number on them. So that was the order. And I sent the order to Neil and I said that he could use that order or put names in his own box, but he decided to just go with that order.
Why find another box?
Right, yes.
Great. So, yeah, I guess my question comes back to what happens if LLB does not respond and cannot make the time that they're given.
I think we cross that bridge if we get to it. So Neil, you'll send them an email first thing in the morning and then maybe follow.
I will probably send it out tonight.
Okay, and then, and then if they can't make the time, they, we'll see how they respond to you, right? And then you would come back to us with more
Yes.
information. Right.
Mary Ann, that language that I sent you was acceptable?
Yep.
Okay.
So is the committee, I know that I'm comfortable, but is the committee comfortable with Mary Ann and Neil making any changes to the ordering as they see fit, depending on what happens with the 3 companies if they can't make the certain times?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that sounds like a reasonable thing.
Yep.
Okay, so we're on to planning the interview process, reviewing the format and questions. And Neil, you said you had questions that you were going to send to us?
I did. I sent those questions out earlier
Yeah.
in the week.
Right.
Ooh,
And I sent them to the committee.
okay, I might have missed them.
Okay. I can send them to you again and then I
No,
can
I have
share
them. I
them.
have them.
You have them? Okay,
I have them.
all
Thank you.
right, okay,
Sorry.
that's okay. I could share them.
Yeah, can we put them up?
Great.
Should we do that? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I haven't looked at
Mary
it.
Ann, would you like me to read the invitation to the interviews, just for the record, so that the committee can hear it before I send it.
Stephen would like that. Do other people just sort of want to do a thumbs up if they want to hear the invitation? It's brief.
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. On behalf of the town of Shutesbury, CMS is pleased to offer you an interview in conjunction with your firm's consideration for the designer services / Shutesbury Library Building Project. Each candidate will be given a 60-minute interview. Interviews will be structured as follows: 20 minutes for candidate's opening presentation, 35 minutes for questions and answers directed by the town, and 5 minutes candidates will be given to ask questions and make closing remarks at the conclusion of the interview. Interviews are scheduled for Monday, December 12th, 2022 at the Shutesbury Town Hall at the following times: 4 o'clock, Odinzello, 5:15 LLB, and 6:30 Johnson Roberts Associates. There is a large screen available for your presentation. Candidates are asked to bring a laptop computer or tablet with an HDMI connection. Please also bring a USB drive with PDFs of all presentation materials for the town's records. Kindly confirm receipt of this invitation at your earliest convenience. Thank you, and we look forward to hearing about or learning more, about your firm. Sincerely, Neil Joyce, Construction Monitoring Services.
Great. Okay, so you're going to share the interview questions, Marianne. I have one comment about procedure. I would like to should we have a room and a person assigned available for if one of the second or third firm comes early?
Yeah, I was gonna ask Becky if, so I'm assuming that they'll come in the front door
Mhm.
and then somebody should bring them down. Maybe, Neil, maybe you could ask people to enter through the front door of town
Sure.
hall.
Mhm.
And then I was gonna ask Becky if she could be upstairs, and she could bring them down, because we'll all want to be in the interview. And if Becky's not available, then I could ask one of somebody from the library staff to do it.
Okay, and maybe ask them to have at least one room available so that they're comfortable upstairs if they're waiting.
Okay. They could probably, I mean, the only room upstairs is there's only the one room
Right.
upstairs, so.
Right.
But, yeah, okay. But I'll ask, okay,
Okay,
Um,
thank you.
okay.
And the public can enter from downstairs.
The public shouldn't come, the public should come on Zoom. Because
I understand
Yeah,
there might
okay.
be public who come,
okay,
but
all right,
we want to
yeah.
make sure that if they come, there are chairs in the back for them to be seated at, and to be very clear that they are not going to be able to participate in the process, but they can definitely come and watch if they want to. Yes, Lauren.
Thank you. I have, not being a Shutesbury resident and having been to meetings in your town hall a few times, I would just suggest that you put a note on the back door if you don't want architects to enter that way, because that is the natural way to enter that building. The front door is not really the front door. The back door is really the front door. Just so you don't have any mix-ups or confusion.
Okay. We can have the lights on the front door so that it's obvious. Okay. Any other structural comments on this?
I have just a general comment. I presume we should all wear masks. But is there a limit to how many people we want in that room in case a number of extra people show up?
That's a good question. That room does have a limit. Marianne, do you remember what that is?
It's 12,
We're 8.
right? And
Plus,
then Neil and
Neil.
maybe Roger. and
Roger, you gonna be there?
Alexa. Yeah,
And
so
the architects.
that's why I said that's why I said the public should attend via Zoom and not in
Okay.
person.
Okay, that's a good reasoning. Thank you. I didn't think of that. All right, we'll put that in the announcement. I'll do a town announce and let people know to look for it on Zoom. All right,
Here's a logistical thing.
Yep.
Following on what Lauren said, if we're asking the architects all to come through the front, I would ask all of us to park in the back,
yes,
to leave space for them to park in front. It would be nice to not have them have to drive in back to park and then walk to the front again.
yes, good idea.
So I have not had the pleasure of visiting Shutesbury Town Hall yet. So I'm just gonna ask somebody to listen to this and make sure that this makes sense. I said, we ask that all firms respect the privacy of the other firms presenting. Kindly enter town hall through the front doors and queue in the main lobby. A committee member will escort you into the meeting room at your appointed time.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Good enough?
I had just
Yep.
one suggestion, Neil.
Yep.
I would say that the entrance is that the street side, Marianne? If
Yeah.
I remember correctly.
Yes,
So you want them to enter from the street side.
Lauren, can I ask you, have you been upstairs in town hall?
I never have.
No.
I've only been downstairs, so I've never come through the front door.
Okay, so can we really call it a lobby? Like, can they queue in the main
Vestibule?
hallway?
Yes, Mary Ann, they could sit, there's a bench there that they can.
Right, there's a bench. They can just
Yeah,
sit in the main hall. Can we call
Yes,
it the main
yes.
hallway?
Yes, I
Sure.
got committee meetings on that bench, so
All right.
it works.
Yeah, okay.
And I think specifying the street side is a really good idea.
Is that considered to be the first floor or is it?
yes,
Yes.
that's the upstairs,
Or,
the
or
main floor,
in architectural speak, main level.
main level. yes.
Okay,
I would also add, I don't think the parking up, there is parking along that little half circle up
Oh,
there.
there
and
will
it's
be.
Not
Yes.
obvious.
There is parking.
Yeah,
Right, but I
you let-
mean, just to maybe mention that there is parking right by the
Oh.
front door in
There
the,
is.
Maybe,
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
say
Can park in the Circle Drive.
Yeah, park
by
in
the
the
front
circle drive.
door.
Yeah,
Mhm. Park in the
You add
circle
that?
drive.
Can you add
Oh.
park in the Circle Drive by the front door? Oh,
to,
can you?
for the architects?
Yes, yes. You come
Okay.
park out back with us. You and Roger
Okay.
park out back with us and have the architects park in the Circle Drive in the front of the building.
Okay,
Chief
Okay.
Burgess will leave them alone.
all right, so once more for the record. Kindly park in the Circle Drive, enter town hall through the front doors, parentheses, street side, and queue in the main level. A committee member will escort you into the meeting room at your appointed time.
Perfect.
Okay.
There we go, home run.
Thank you. Okay, now we're on to the questions.
Now I'll share the question. Okay, so here are the questions. And let's see, can everybody see them?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Oh, that's too big.
Yep.
Okay. All right,
that's good.
that's good.
That's good. That works.
so I'll just scroll up a little. Why isn't it scrolling? Ah, okay. Um, uh, geez, I think just that first question could take 20 minutes,
I know.
but those are all important questions, right?
Now, are you providing these questions ahead of time, Neil?
No. It was the request of the subcommittee that these not be provided to the interviewing firms.
Okay,
If this, well, I suppose, if this committee feels differently about that, I could attach them to the meeting invite and send it out. But I would ask the committee to clarify that for me, please.
There's a irrelevant typo at the very top. LL Brary instead of LI Brary. Top line.
Up there, right up here?
Oh,
The second
LL.
letter in library is an L.
that's why it's red underlined.
huh.
Oh, that's a header. Okay, so if you do decide to send that out, Neil, you would edit that before you sent it.
I can do that. I just,
Okay.
again, I would ask the committee to clarify.
Yeah.
Alrighty, we'll
Yeah.
see if the two committees can come up with an agreement. So, okay. Okay, so how do we want to do this? Do we want to just agree? Do we have consensus that question 1 is fine? It looks like Dale has a question.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I support question 1, all 4 parts of it. I think those are 4 very important, aspects.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so Jeff Quackenbush is not here, but I spoke to him today and he asked me to, let's see. So he doesn't feel any need to talk about, alternative construction methods. He feels like we have consensus that we are doing design, bid, build, based on the
Yep.
size of this project. So this next question we could amend if everybody here agrees. Let's see. We could just have them talk about their understanding of Massachusetts public building construction law and then take out the part about alternative construction and the designer's role in each method. Because we're not doing construct CM at risk.
Yeah, I would almost suggest that we just skip question 2.
I
I mean,
can
they have to
personally, I
understand
can
Massachusetts
personally,
public construction law. They've completed public constructions. I mean, it's almost, it's a question sort of after the fact.
I can attest to the fact that all 3 of these firms have built public libraries in Massachusetts using our grant program.
So
So question 2 can be eliminated.
I
Okay.
think so.
Okay.
We all agree on that? Molly?
Marion, do you want to edit this on the fly?
Sure. So I'm just gonna delete number 2, unless somebody, and look at that, the
Steven?
numbering changed all on its own. If anybody, I can't see everybody. I don't know,
Yeah.
Elena, I don't know if you can see everybody.
I'm
because-
seeing everybody, yeah.
Okay, so you'll
Stephen-
know if,
Yeah,
okay.
Stephen has
okay.
his hand up.
Well, can Neil or Lauren very briefly explain what the Mass Public Building Construction Law is? Or do I not need to know that?
Well, you sort of do, but maybe not
For-
here.
I think for the purposes of these interviews, I was actually gonna suggest, as Lauren did, that each of these 3 firms have done multiple projects in Massachusetts. So it's less of a concern for me. To answer your question directly, public construction in Massachusetts is governed by Chapter 149 of Mass General Law. And it has literally, I think, hundreds of subparts that do every manner of public construction that you can think of. Sometime when you're really, really tired or you can't sleep, open up Mass General Law, Chapter 149, you'll be asleep before Subpart B.
Okay. So there are a lot of hoops that you need to know about.
We'll call them nuances.
Okay. Okay. Well, that explains it. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay, so now the new number 2 is examples. Ooh, let's see. Lessons learned and past failures. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we like this question. I've used this question a lot with a lot of different clients, and they like it because it forces them to look at themselves critically
Mm.
and to share an experience that may have been less than positive.
Mm. Right.
do we care if they are restricted specifically to past library projects or not?
No. No. No.
Nope.
Nope.
I hear grumbling. Okay, nope.
No, anything.
All right. All right. That's a good one. On to number
Cost
3.
control. On to number 3.
Mm. Mm. Very important.
Very important.
Very.
Okay.
I'm not hearing anybody say nay. So,
No, I think we all support number 3.
yep. Number 4.
I suggest making it a little briefer. I'm not sure the first sentence is necessary along with the rest. It's encompassed in the rest, and we could start with, please cite specific examples. It just makes it shorter. It's like the second line in number 4. Yeah, right where your cursor's.
So you want to start right there instead of starting with the first sentence?
Yeah. That's my suggestion.
Well, Brad, I think I understand your, desire to shorten it, but I think you sort of need that first part to really bring the second part into focus. I don't, I mean, because you're getting involved of, in successful public engagement, as well as examples of what does not work well for communities. So, I don't know if that needs a little background or not.
Yeah, I think it adds some nice context and also makes it more obvious. I mean, it says that it's critical to the overall success, and the rest of the question doesn't address that.
And it really does highlight how critical it is to us.
Mm. Mm.
I accept all that.
Okay,
Great.
so we'll leave 4 as it is.
Yes. Okay, number 5.
Very important. As written.
Mhm. Yep.
That looks good. Okay.
Okay. All right, number 6.
Well, I mean, we definitely have an interest in this because we want to know how they're going to communicate to us in as well as to the OPM.
Looks good to me.
Mm-hmm. And they could be short. And the answer could be short. This is
Yeah.
the way we do it.
We could take out 2 blank lines below 6.
Aaron,
Yeah.
like that, or
Yep.
another one? Okay.
Seven is another important question as written.
Should say, oh, is the fall instead of in the fall?
Yes.
Well, you know, I mean, we all had a little trouble with the rating question about, you know, the expedited designs, you know, the opportunity for expedited design and all of that. So this at least addresses that or brings that a little bit more into focus. So I would say yes to 7 as written.
Okay. I'm good with 7.
Yep.
Neil,
Yes.
what is it BIM and REVIT?
So BIM and Revit are very popular three-dimensional drawing software tools and or packages that architects use. You probably are familiar with AutoCAD,
Mm-hmm.
which is a two-dimensional drawing tool.
Mhm,
BIM and Revit are sort of next generation three-dimensional modeling tools.
mhm.
So they will physically build your project on the screen before we ever put a shovel in the ground.
Am I right in assuming that by writing it that way, BIM/Revit, you're asking for one of those? You're asking for a three-dimensional modeling, not both?
I'm gonna assume that all three firms are probably using Revit. It's pretty much an industry standard at this point.
Okay.
But we'll see.
I think
That's
8.
a good question, number 9.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
sorry. Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
I had a question on 9. One is a couple questions. We know there have been some issues found in the past at, what was it, Bornine, you know, where the tower used to be. And
Mhm.
that's where there are continued issues. And my memory's fuzzy, but I think we've tested a lot around the actual building site. And in recent times have not found any evidence of chemically impacted soils. So I wonder whether that should be potentially impacted. I could be wrong. Have we actually found issues there?
Right. So that's actually, you know, having spent the entire weekend reading through all of the reports once again. So I would say, is there another way that we can say concerns about OHMs, oil and hazardous materials without saying chemical impacted soils? Because so far we only have one reportable level, and it's not near where the library is going to be built. So how do we say that, Neil?
You can say potential for chemical impacted soils. You
Mm,
can, you could leave it the way that it's worded and clarify it a little bit when you ask the question. I think what I want to make sure of and that I flesh out with this question is that they acknowledge that there's been a lot of testing done on site. There has been some positive and some negative results, both literal and figurative. And that they're going to have to potentially address those conditions in their preparation of their plans and specifications for the site.
Neil, I don't quite agree with you. I don't think there have been negative test results on the building site itself. And I think it's important to clarify.
There
We're
was
still looking.
one, right, there was one reportable level of PCBs.
And when was that?
That was in 2012.
And it's not been followed up by recent testing?
No, it was never duplicated, so they
So
thought it
I
was.
still feel it's important too. I don't feel we should say we've got chemically impacted soils, chemical impacted soils, because I'm not sure that's an accurate statement. So potential, I think, is important to add. We want to flag it.
How about historic use I mean, I actually sort of I don't want to say we have chemical impacted soils when we have done so many so almost all of the soil borings show that we don't have chemical impacted soils. But I'm okay with saying potential for, could we say potential for limited chemical impacted soils?
Could we say suspect soils or somewhat suspect soils?
Well, I wouldn't say I think they're suspect, given all the borings, the test things we've
Right.
done that have said
Right.
there's nothing there.
Right. All right, so how about if we say historic use of the property? Because it's the historic use of the property that's caused us to to do the chemical investigations.
Historic use of the property as a garage, just to be specific.
I don't know.
No,
Oh, I think you're narrowing it down too much.
no.
Yeah, keep it general. If you can't make it better, I would say leave it the way it is. I mean, we're not making it better. Yeah, I
I would-
understand your objections, but I think we have to say something. You know,
I would vote to take those words out unless we can replace them, because I feel they're very inaccurate. And it will do us a disservice if we leave that inaccuracy in place.
that's strong.
I would like to just underscore PCBs are nothing to fool around with. And if you have a test result that came back positive, I know that you've verified it.
Oh yeah, no, we could never.
I'm sorry,
Verify it, okay,
you did additional testing and could
Yeah.
not replicate the
Right.
results. So I'm not an environmental expert, but PCBs are no joke. So I just want to make sure that if you leave it out and sort of we tested and that's not the real deal, if it comes back later on and it reappears somewhere else, you're going to have a cost and schedule impact that could be very detrimental to the project. So I think it's important that your designer is aware of what you found, The fact that you've retested and have not been able to duplicate is an important side note. But I don't think sort of making light of it at this point in time is the right thing to do.
I'm not saying to make light of it. I'm saying to make it more accurate. And I don't feel that this is an accurate statement. We do not know that we have chemical impacted soils. And
No.
because we don't know that, I don't think we should say that.
So why don't we instead take out the first part of it, saying this site has some geo-environmental challenges, and ask them, please cite specific examples of your firm's experience with new construction under potential chemical impacted soils, wetlands, etc., without specifically tying it to this site. And because that's all we really want to know is, what have they done that is similar to us? We don't have to tell them specifically, because I don't think we really have chemical impacted soils, but we do have wetlands, and we want to know what they do about it, what their experience is with it. How does that feel?
That's okay with me.
I think that you're painting an equally rosy picture where I'm trying to forecast the potential for issues. That's just my own opinion.
And then you want them to be ready to address those issues should they arise.
If I don't know whether Fussin O'Neill will be present. He is a sub-consultant to at least one of the firms. He knows what's going on out there. If he's present at the interviews and we lob a softball about soil testing or whatever else out there, he's going to leave scratching his head. And I don't think that that's the right thing to do. I think you have to approach it. You've got to hit it head on, and you've got to make sure that they understand that part of their fee, unless you want to take all of this information that you already have and put it in a document and share it with them, and have all of their services related to geo-environmental sampling and testing as a reimbursable service. And that would, because otherwise they don't have a way to quantify what their risk is in designing around this on the site. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know that.
If we change it to keep the first part, the site has some geo-environmental challenges dash wetlands, which we know are true, and possible chemical impacted soils.
Stephen, I saw that your hand was up too.
Well, I was going to go back to when we were interviewing the OPMs, and I remember Neil made a comment, something to the effect of, if you do your homework, then you don't have too many surprises. And I feel like that's what Neil is kind of suggesting right now. And, I think when the question is asked, Mary Ann or whoever is asking the question could add some information that helps the architects understand where we are and maybe some of what we've gone through. So it's not just the question as it's written here.
I'm not totally reading this for the sake of the architect. I'm reading it for the wider audience of anybody who reads it. And I feel like this covers what you're asking for and also covers what I'm asking for.
Are you okay with just the changed order of the words, Neil?
I think if you guys are comfortable with it, I'm fine. I mean, I work for you guys. I'm just trying to keep us out of the weeds. That's all.
I'll support the change in the wording.
So
I mean,
Marianne,
it's the same words, just in this, just in flipped order.
Right. Well,
Okay.
Penny,
Read out
do you have a question?
I liked Marianne's suggestion of adding a phrase about something about historic use of the site. Presents possible,
How about due to historic use of the site?
Oh, I like
I
that.
mean, due to historic misuse of the site? I mean, come
No,
on, I mean, what do you want, I mean,
that's what
I don't
people-
think it should go there, Marianne. I think.
yeah,
No.
don't go there, don't go there.
Okay.
No, no, no.
No, I think if we use those words, it's possible chemically impacted soils due to, the wetlands has nothing due to history.
now my numbering is
Just,
wrong.
just
Oh,
hit return again. Oh, there you go.
I'll get there. Watch. There we go. Okay. Okay.
So add that after soils.
Can you say the site has some challenges and leave out geo-environmental challenges and then just say wetlands, possible chemical impacted soils, et cetera?
I'm not sure that we need to take that out.
Yeah, because the site having challenges could mean that it's it has a tilt to it, or it has a lot of rocks or something. I think we really want to say that they're geo-environmental challenges.
Even though you list them, even though you list them in the next part of the sentence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask one clarifying question? I think I know the answer to this, but I want to be sure.
Yeah.
You guys don't have public water supply in town, right?
Right,
So you're gonna have to drill a well somewhere on this site
right.
for drinking water, flushing water.
Yep.
I think you need to, I think you need to be really careful.
Okay,
And we know we do need to be careful.
yep.
All right.
Okay.
we're gonna leave
I'd
it
say
like-
let's leave it like it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Dale,
we
you
on to
okay
number
with-
10?
What?
Are we on to number 10?
We are.
So Stephen, are you okay with this one?
Yeah,
Okay. Huh. What does
It's
number
a
10,
fine question.
what does number 10 tell us?
I think it gives some insight that your design firm isn't gonna finish design and sign off on a punch list, and you'll never hear from them again.
What if we change the structure after construction completion? How will your firm conduct? Describe,
Ooh,
rather than asking whether they're going to do it or not, asking what they're going to do.
How does your firm?
Conduct, we can take out any.
Yep.
Conduct follow-ups for quality control.
And instead of or?
Yep.
And solicit customer satisfaction feedback. Then you could probably stop after feedback. I mean, we're interested in how they'll do it for us. This is sort of asking, I don't know.
This question may be slanted to OPMs more than anything else, but nothing frustrates me more than when you work with the same design firm on multiple projects, and the two projects are 5 years apart and they still make the same mistakes that they made 5 years ago. Right? Very, very frustrating. So
we like it like this.
Yep.
So that's all the questions. So Neil, I'll send you this. I'll try and fix the header when I'm not sharing it.
if you go up and double click on library, it should open up the header. You should be able to edit it
There we
right
go. Look
there.
at that. All right. When you click on it and then it says edit header, that's
Yep.
helpful. Okay. Good. Okay.
Now just
Um,
double click on the body and you'll come out of the header.
No.
There
Oh,
you go.
there we go. Okay. Okay, and I'll send this to everyone. Well, I'll print a bunch of these out before the meeting and I'll send this updated version to everyone. So that if people bring a tablet or something to the meeting instead of, if they don't want paper. And then for the OPM interviews, Jeff asked all the questions.
Yes.
He's not here. He's not gonna mind asking all the questions. He thought that it seemed, I don't know, I don't remember how but cumbersome to sort of pass the questions around the table. How do people feel about that?
I agree. I think the tenor of the question asking is better when it comes from one person. I don't really care who that one person is, but when it comes from one person instead of bouncing back and forth. I mean, they know that we've all looked at the questions. They know that we're all paying attention. So that's just my take on it. But other people might have another take.
Does anybody want to be the person who asks the questions?
I thought Jeff did a great job.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree.
Yeah, let Jeff do it.
I
He's
loved
not here.
answering all of Jeff's questions.
Yeah, all right. He can't defend himself. He's picked.
He won't, I don't think he'll object. I also don't think he would object if somebody else wanted to do it. But so we can go ahead and let Jeff do it, unless
Okay.
he doesn't want to, and then Stephen can do it.
Okay.
Question.
Yeah.
So when we sent out the original request for qualifications in the designer selection criteria, number 10, if I can find it, I had it, was about, bringing projects in on budget, on time. And I felt that that was not a question that anybody really clearly addressed. And, number 3 of our questions for the architects, please provide examples of your cost control. It sort of addresses that, but, if we're hitting them with this on the fly, I don't know that we're going to get any better answers. I mean, I would almost consider asking them to bring that information to the presentation. So what's everybody think of that?
Could you repeat that, Stephen, what you want them to bring?
Well, I finally found it. So in the request for qualifications, number 10 said, demonstrate applicants' expertise at bringing in projects on time and on budget. And question 3 for the interview sort of addresses that, but they're getting that question cold. And I don't know how easy it is for them to bring that information up and present that clearly to us so we can say use that. So I'm wondering if it's worth asking them to bring that information with them.
So do you think it's, if we gave them the questions ahead of time, that would give them the opportunity? So do we want to edit that question to ask for more information, and then do we want to give them the questions ahead of time? Because we've had some discussion in this meeting about whether or not we wanted Neil to give the candidates the questions.
Well, maybe we should, because I think that question needs to be answered substantially, really. I think Stephen's point is well made, really.
And I don't think that that's a question that you can answer on the fly.
All right, well, we don't want it answered on the fly,
Right.
you know, and I mean, that's the point. So
So do
maybe
we
the
want to
questions do
edit
get
that
sent out.
question?
I don't know.
There is one of the first questions that we ask, requests them to speak to their cost control. So I think when you couple that question with the one further down about meeting the designed schedule and having things ready to go by next fall, you touch on both of the elements of the question that is being raised and asked to be clarified. I appreciate the fact that the committee feels as though that information was not well presented in the RFQ responses. So I encourage you to seek clarification. I just wonder if it's being asked only in two separate questions.
Well, then that
Well, I
also
think-
begs the question of whether we want to give them the questions ahead of time.
Is there
Neil, what do
any-
you think of that?
Is there any standard practice,
Right.
giving questions or not?
I would say the vast majority of interviews that I've done, the questions are not provided in advance.
All right.
I don't know, Lauren, do you have an opinion on that?
I don't really. I think that I kind of agree with Neil that not giving them the questions ahead of time. I think we want to make sure that all the architects are not, kind of just speaking off, just that they know their stuff. And you can tell when somebody is kind of ad-libbing or sort of making stuff up to answer a question that they don't really have the answer to. I think that if I think the fact that this question was included in the RFQ, and I think all of them know that they didn't answer it completely or well, and that they will do their homework before the interview. And if they don't, that's a piece of information that's valuable also.
And so we might have, we're going to have extra, maybe a minute or two for more clarification questions. So Stephen, I will expect either you or Dale to hammer in on this if you don't feel we got a good enough answer.
Okay.
Okay,
Do that.
okay.
So
Okay.
is the consensus that we're not giving the candidates the questions in advance?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Okay. All right, we have our questions, we have our questionnaire, we have our format. Let's go on if we're ready. Is everybody ready to go on to updates regarding lot 032? Take it away, Mary Ann.
Okay, so I don't have a lot of information. We let's see, regarding the ANRAD application, Emily Stockman, the peer reviewer hired by the Conservation Commission, returned to lot 032 and did a site visit with April Dorosky, the wetland scientist that we have hired, the town has hired. So there are some isolated vegetative wetlands along the roadway that leads towards the south end of the property. And there are now 4 small isolated wetlands along that property that are each of them is smaller than 1,000 square feet, so they are not jurisdictional. Neil and Shutesbury and Lauren and Roger in Shutesbury, isolated wetlands that are 1,000 square feet or higher are considered jurisdictional resource areas by the Conservation Commission. So there are, so when we did that testing at Bore 9, 2 of those isolated wetlands were delineated as connected, making it larger than 1,000 square feet, and that's why we had to file an RDA and provide protection when we were driving out there to do that testing. Emily Stockman agreed with the new wetland boundary on the east side of the property, so that had been an isolated wetland. It's now a bordering wetland because when our wetland scientist was there, she didn't go on to the neighboring property. But when the peer review happened, they were able to go on to the neighboring property. And then they moved the boundary further into lot 032, about 15 feet. So not a huge difference. And then on the west side of the property is the open meadow. And April Dorosky did some soil pits and gave a lot of evidence why some of what she had previously identified as wetlands wasn't wetlands, but Emily Stockman didn't agree with her. And the process for doing further investigation on that wetland, it would be really onerous, very time consuming, very expensive, and isn't likely to result in a different determination. So it looks like we're going back to the original wetland delineation of that meadow that Fuss and O'Neill did originally. So Emily Stockman sent a response. Fuss and O'Neill's, that's our wetland scientist, sent some clarifying questions, and the AMRAD hearing is continued for this Thursday evening at 8 o'clock. So one lingering question is that some of the flags, the handheld GPS unit that April Dorosky was using, that there was disturbance from the tree canopy, so they're not as reliable points. So the Conservation Commission is going to require a survey, and we're gonna need to have the property surveyed anyway for a the architects are going to need a survey, know exactly where those wetlands are, and other information like the topography and other things that architects need to know when they're designing a building. So we're gathering quotes to have the wetland flagging surveyed. So we don't want to have the survey done until the Conservation Commission agrees that all the flags are in the right place, because the survey is going to be, thousands of dollars. And I do want to ask this committee to agree to funding the survey, because this is part of the construction cost. Up until now, we've funded all of this environmental investigation with other funds, but it's time to start. We're now getting to the point where we're actually building the library. And so the quotes are between $6,000 and $10,000 so far, depending on how much of a survey that we do. So I just wanted to get, approval from this committee to go ahead and do that. And then while we're talking about money, I asked Neil the other day about things. So we're not going to be doing things where like each expenditure is reviewed by the committee and approved by the committee. And Neil suggested a procedure where I and one other committee member sort of have permission to make decisions about spending money to keep the project moving forward. Neil suggested that other committee member could be Jeff. So those are sort of two questions in front of the committee. So I make a motion that we approve. Oh, Lauren, you have a question? And you're muted.
I do. I will have to look at the contract between the MBLC and the town of Shutesbury to verify this. On our regular grant contracts, there will have already been a person who's designated as authorized to make expenditures, to approve
Okay.
expenditures. So we need to see if that was part of the contract. It doesn't mean that even if that happened, it doesn't mean that can't change, but we would have to change it before any expenditures were approved.
All right. I do think that's me, actually. But but boy, it feels like 100 years ago that we signed that contract, but it might be only 99 years ago. But I'll look at that too. But anyway, does this committee agree that I can go ahead and hire a surveyor to keep this ANRAD process moving?
I make a motion that Mary Ann be allowed to go ahead with the surveying to keep the NRED process going. Do I hear a second?
Second, Dalmas.
Any further discussion?
I take it from Marianne, from what you said, that we need a survey anyway. So I'm all in favor.
Okay. On to voting. Mary Ann,
Aye.
Stephen,
Dalmas, aye.
Brad,
Foster, aye.
Dale,
Pool eye.
Penny. Penny,
Sorry, I'm muted.
Molly,
Moss, I.
and Paleo, aye. All right, so not having, could we make a motion to designate Jeff as the assistant to the person who is in the contract? So that
If
this
there's
can
a
move.
person in the contract.
What?
Yes, if there's a person in the
If
contract.
there's a
which I
person
think
in the
there is.
contract,
Yes, okay.
could we just to keep this moving along before our next meeting?
That's great.
Okay, so I will make a motion that if there is no person designated in the contract, it becomes the responsibility of Mary Ann and Jeff. And if there is someone that is designated in the contract besides Mary Ann, then that person will be assisted by Jeff. Do I hear a second?
Second. Brad?
Dale, did you have a question?
No,
Okay. Okay. Any discussion? Okay, Mary Ann,
Aye.
Stephen,
Dalmas, aye.
Brad,
Foster, aye.
Dale,
pool eye.
Penny,
Jake's eye.
Molly,
Moss, I.
and Paleo, aye.
Just for clarification, who seconded that?
Brad.
Brad.
Thank you.
Okay. We are at 8:17. I would like to put the planning for public forum in January, February on our next meeting, if you all don't mind. I don't think we have much to do yet that we can't plan in the future. Do we have any liaison reports?
Not for me.
Okay. Brad, do you have anything from the library?
I'm getting confused about when I'm doing what. I think we meet soon, and I think I reported already on our last meeting.
Okay. Okay, Penny, I think we all have been updated on the Conservation Commission, and we'll hope to see all of us there on Thursday night.
Yes.
Okay. Any,
And,
other-
Well,
excuse-
have
go ahead.
we have on the record that the Giving Day was wildly successful and we raised over $31,000. Yay.
Yay. What was the final number, Marianne?
31,385.
Wow. That's fabulous. Fabulous.
Yep.
Thank you.
And if you need any hats or sweatshirts or coffee mugs, you can buy them this coming Saturday at Town Hall.
Right.
Or Shutesbury 2023 calendars.
Oh,
Really,
right.
all of your shopping needs from 10 to 2. I can't think of anything that would be on your holiday giving list that wouldn't be available there.
And
Hats,
you can get things wrapped.
yeah, you can get things wrapped.
Do we have any other unanticipated business? Okay, the only other thing is scheduling our next meeting.
Yeah,
If we stay on track, our next meeting is next Tuesday. Let's see,
Um,
but we're
And-
meeting Monday.
we're meeting Monday.
Well, do we
I-
want to meet on Tuesday to talk about Monday? Possibly. I mean, we could schedule it and possibly cancel it if we don't want to do it.
Brad and I both have to be at the Finance Committee on Tuesday.
Oh.
7 o'clock.
these Things.
7 o'clock. Could you, could we possibly make this meeting 6 o'clock on Tuesday? So that,
Well,
Possible.
Do we want to do that to Brad and Mary Ann?
what do we need to discuss after we decide things on Monday?
I don't think we're gonna decide on Monday, are we?
No,
The notes
okay.
said that the committee would deliberate at the end of the interviews.
oh, really?
Oh, okay,
Okay.
okay, okay,
Alright.
so you're, so we'll
Alright.
have our architects ranked and
Yeah.
on Monday. All right, well, then I guess we're gonna free you up on the 13th, but that means our next meeting is the 27th. Is everybody all
okay.
right with that?
Yep, we might have a contract by then.
You have a contract by then?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
so-
have a question. Neil, are you gonna negotiate the contract with the designer? Or does Becky do that?
It's up to you. I would think the town manager would do the same that she did
Okay.
with me, would be my expectation, but
Okay,
if you'd like me to assist, I'd be happy to.
okay. I'm just wondering. Okay, all right.
For the record, I won't be available on the 27th.
Okay. Okay, so I'll put that in my newsletter announce and on our website that we will not be meeting on the 13th, but our next meeting will be on the 27th. Yes, Molly.
So can somebody remind me how late we think we're gonna, or I guess we don't know how late we're gonna go, but when do the interviews go to on Monday? The 12th?
The last interview will end at approximately 7:30. Everybody will get their 60 minutes. If we're running a little behind for one reason or another, it might be a few minutes after, but we'll do our best to stay on schedule.
So we'll be deliberating by 8 at the latest. And for those of you who worked at the review, we did decide that this would be a potluck. So in case food is necessary, we will be bringing potluck. because Neil was trying to find the best restaurant in town.
I'm still looking. I haven't ruled anything out.
Where do you come, Neil? Where do you come and see this place?
We're gonna have to give you the grand tour of
It'll
take
downtown
long.
Shutesbury.
Nope.
Yeah.
Remember, this is towns of population under 2,000.
Gotta eat somewhere.
At
home.
home. That's what Amherst is for.
There are no businesses, like there are no public businesses in Shutesbury. There are no
You can check out a library book and you can buy a beer. And you
Correct.
can mail
at
a
a
letter.
private club.
And you can mail a letter.
You can mail a letter. Yeah.
Is that by design?
Definitely.
There used to be little stores,
Mm.
Yes, yeah,
but
yes,
not anymore.
yes. There just aren't enough of us and there's not really a main road that goes through town. So so in Leverett, which is, I don't know which direction Leverett is, but one of the directions, there's a small co-op. And then New Salem has the New Salem General Store. And then really your Belchertown or Amherst for real services.
Yeah,
So
we're
I
well
should-
surrounded.
So I should fill my tank before I get there.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There's no gas station between
there's
here
no
and there.
gas station.
Once you get
I
off,
know, I know.
once you get off Route 2 onto
Right.
202, you better fill your
That's
tank
right.
right there.
That's
Good to
right.
know.
Yes,
Yep, nor
yes.
charging stations either.
No.
No, but the library will have charging stations.
Ah,
Mm.
okay.
So,
All
the new
right,
library.
all right.
Okay,
All right.
do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Move, we adjourn.
That was Stephen. Do I hear a second?
Brad,
Brad seconded. Okay, Mary Ann,
And Ellis, I.
Stephen,
Down the side.
Brad,
Foster, I.
Dale,
Aye.
Penny,
Aye.
Molly,
Ross, I.
Paleo, I. Thank you all. This was the longest meeting that we've had. Stay tuned for Monday.
Okay.
Mary Ann, you can check your inbox. You should have, I CC'd you on the emails that I sent to the firms. So
Thank
they're
you.
out there in Cyberland.
All right.
Okay.
Terrific. Thank you so much.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you all.
Good night,
Great
everyone.
night, everyone.
Night.
Night, everyone. Thank you.
Night.
Okay.